Hey, and welcome back to the recaps in the Zachary Hughes case. Also, the Rose Petal case, the Pianist case, whatever you want to call it. I want to call it confusing because we have now been through, I believe, 21 or 22 witnesses in this case. I have heard the defendant's name mentioned less than 10 times. What I do know is the victim was in a custody battle with her ex-husband. What I do know is the victim had been to Italy to get her daughter back, even though she had given her ex-husband custody over this daughter. What I do know is we haven't so far had any evidence directly linking Mr. Hughes to the crime scene. What I do know is we were sold a different story than what we saw. And what do I mean by that? Well, first of all, day two, just like day one, a lot of witnesses coming in saying, yeah, I took some photos. These are the photos I took. I took some bugle swabs. I was at a house. I took some pictures. I opened the door. There was no real, and this is what I found. All of it was, well, I took some pictures. Okay, so is some crime tech coming in later and tying all of this together? Is a lead detective going to tie it together? We had the co-lead detective yesterday, and I don't know, maybe I fell asleep while streaming, but I never found out how they really focused in on Zachary Hughes, because they did some geofencing and claimed his phone was in the area. I'm not even sure. I heard them talk about geofencing, and then all of a sudden they were looking at television or traffic cams, and because they have one picture of him 5 hours after with a bike in the bed of his truck, he was their suspect. But did you get him on TV riding around in the area, or just because of the ring cameras you saw a black bike and then, well, all black bikes are the same? That's not how it works. They talked to another guy who worked for the ex-husband, Mr. Mello, who said he worked with Zach. They were making a house ready to be sold. Maybe that's why they started looking at him. I never found out why they were looking at him to begin with. But they then went to his house, and because he had cleaned his bike, it must mean he was guilty. But it was I think the bike name was Ogno or something like that, which apparently is a pretty pricey bike. I know from people I know who rides dirt trails and rides around in forest and stuff like that, that they always clean their bike when they get home because it's an expensive bike. But because this bike was clean, he's a killer. Then they had some pictures of him walking on a trail cam 2 days before, where he has a hoodie on with white, I don't know what you call these, flippy flaps. And the inside of the hoodie was also white. They claim, well, this is the same hoodie he was wearing at the time of the crime, because when he rode his bike, he had the black hoodie outside, and then he must have turned it around when he went into the house. The only problem was we pulled up the pictures from the ring cameras of him biking, and the flippy floppies weren't white, and there was no white lining on the hoodie. So why did they jump on the conclusion this is the same hoodie? And this is where the big problem started showing itself in this case. The defense team is less than great. It's less than good. So far, I will say they are probably less than competent. They didn't. We see this, and we are arguing in chat and say, well, that clearly doesn't add up, and this doesn't make sense compared to what another witness say, and they just. So you found a bike with no cobwebs on it. Yeah. This is the bike. Yeah. Okay. See you later. Why don't you get in the jury's head and say, you're clearly misstating the shirt he's wearing. Can't you see you're wrong? You need to put that in the head of the jury. Nah, no opening statements. Their cross-examinations are weak. It seems like they are waiting for the Hail Mary, and they were about to get the Hail Mary twice yesterday because we had the victim's sister talking about living with the sister, and the daughter lived there, and she had lost connection to her for some years, and then they came back. She was very arrogant. She was very snippy, and she was allowed to sit and just talk shit about the ex-husband. Knew nothing about Zachary. Nothing. Never mentioned him by name. Haven't seen him at all. All of this is because the ex-husband is bad, so this guy must be bad too. But she talked about the allegations that arose in the custody battle. The defense never really touched on what those allegations were. She talked about how her sister might have been a lady of the night, but they didn't get into that either. I really don't understand why not. You have to paint the picture of a bad victim so your guy can get some sympathy. And then we have that bag of Colombian fun powder. The sister didn't take it. She said the victim didn't take it. Why is there a bag of Colombian fun powder found in your house then? Did they take swabs of that fun powder and there will be fingerprints? We don't know because all the technical evidence is just locked. We don't know what they found in all of these evidence. And then we had possibly the worst person in the world. I'm sorry. I got so mad in the end yesterday. We had the lady who took care of the daughter and made sure to place her in the house with the victim, who allegedly then sexually assaulted her multiple times with her fiancé. This lady had the audacity to sit and smile with a stupid little smile. Again, only talking about the ex-husband, not about Zachary. Well, she got harassed. The ex-husband was an asshole to her. She put the kid with the mom because she was clearly thriving. They had Taco Tuesday. She ate avocados. Yeah. And she got videotaped doing the worst stuff in the world. And you, lady, should forever feel that torment in your soul. But you had your stupid little smile and your designer glasses, and I did the right thing. No, you didn't. You're one of the worst people I've ever seen in a courtroom. You were smirking, you were laughing. You know what happened. Sadly, the defense weren't allowed because you claimed you looked into the allegations made against Christina Parcell, but you found nothing. The defense wanted to ask about the CP, which I believe they should have been allowed to, with the way this witness clearly had turned a blind eye to anything that happened in the house and just blamed the dad. But the judge wouldn't allow it. So this guy is up a certain creek without a paddle, unless his defense can pull out a white rabbit and start getting all of that CP stuff in there. It should be allowed because it's a very strong third-party culprit motive as well. Could it be the dad of the other girl that's in the videos? Could it be an uncle, a brother, a nephew, whatever, who wanted to do a little street justice? This case has more bumps and turns than a country road. But sadly, it has a lackluster defense so far. They can still pull out the White Rabbit and change my view on them, but so far, it's misery. And what's the worst part is the one hired to protect the daughter was the one who put her in that house. And she laughed about it.